All right. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to welcome you to this talk with Anaiya Sophia on the fierce feminine. Anaiya Sophia is a mystic, storyteller, and author of revelatory wisdom. She teaches workshops throughout the world, and she's going on a tour soon in Canada and the US in August 2020, so you can catch her later this year here where I am in the US. She's currently in France. She's best known for her creation of Sacred Body Awakening. She's also known as showing up as a trailblazing resource of unapologetic truth and transparent courage. Her heart is both fierce and tender. She carries an oral message that stirs the remembrance of a continuous lineage with the feminine principle, without the need for permission or recognition from any other source. She has written many books. Her most recent book, Fierce Feminine Rising, Heal from Predatory Relationships and Recenter Your Personal Power, reveals a map that was given as she wrote the book. It's a map of our, excuse me, it's a map of our absolute awakening, our return to the heart. I guess I had to touch my heart before I said that. Believing in uncompromising truth, reckless beauty, and courageous love. The great phrase. Knowing that life is worth more than money and that there's nothing greater, nothing more important, nothing more sacred than protecting the sacred spirit deep within all life. Goosebumps. With whatever time we have left, Anaiya is even more committed to addressing head-on many of the challenges that stand in our way and to ensure the birth of a golden age in our footsteps. Cool. So we just want to welcome Anaiya Sophia and this beautiful work she's doing. And Anaiya, this recent work you've done on the fierce feminine, I'd love to know in your own words, what does it mean and how you felt called to write about it for the world?
Hi, everybody. It is wonderful to be here. I love how we're both wearing yellow.
Yeah.
How did I come to the fierce feminine? Well, I remember the absolute moment. It was 2 years ago. I was watching National Geographic, and it was some live video footage of a polar bear dragging his withered leg behind him as he came into town, which is very unusual. He came into town and he was rifling through the rubbish bin looking for food. He was completely wasted away. He was starving and he'd clearly broken his leg. Now, usually I see a few seconds of that and go, oh, I can't watch that. But for some reason, I knew I had to watch that right the way through. And at the end of that little video snippet, I heard this voice inside of me say something along the lines of, write me into the consciousness of humanity. And what that was my pain and sorrow and grief and regret that was coming up because of the polar bear. And I knew, oh my God, I'm going to be watching more videos like this in order to really feel into what is this humongous outrage that's rising inside of me. And even then, I knew it's not anger. This isn't anger. This isn't fury. It's more primordial than that. It's just no. It's just no. And also prior to that, that's why the second part of the book's called Heal from Predatory Relationships, because I was well and truly in one. You know, hook, line and sinker, I was in one. So I had to learn how to navigate that, and what is that, and what is gaslighting?
Yeah.
And what is narcissism, and what is psychopath? I thought psychopaths were, you know, a person brandishing a knife and chasing you around a dark alley. No, it's very sophisticated. It's very seductive, and it's really out there. So I kind of put those two topics together. And that's how Fierce Feminine got born.
Yeah, how beautiful. Wow, thank you. I love so many things about what you just said. One, like having this courage and knowingness to really go into that grief and the no, and really embody the no. And I think that's a huge, teaching for all of us, that we're really learning, like, how can we do no in a way that really honors who we are and honors the feminine.
Well, there's kind of, for me, it's a twofold process. There's the outer part of the fierce feminine, which is, for instance, let's just say, interrupting racism. You're part of a group of friends and a few little comments come out, which in the past, you might have just let it go, even though your system said, hang on a minute, that's really out of order.
Right.
And so, an outward action, or you're at a cafe and you see someone treating their children or their animal companions with disrespect and dishonor. Right. Again, I would have probably looked the other way and squinted because of the pain, but simply unable to say anything. Now I feel I'm different. I will flip and say something. So that's the outer expression.
Yeah.
The inner expression is loads and loads of work, especially with women, on working on freeing their voice, not caring a less about other people's opinion, making that boundary call, learning how to say no, recognizing a don't know is also a no. Only yeses are yeses.
Right.
Being honest with our sexual partners and whether we want to have sex in this particular moment. Insisting upon respect from, for instance, bosses or colleagues in the workspace. And for us women, because we have been trained to be very pleasing and agreeable and lovely, it's hard for us because we think the end of the world is coming. If we should show our true face and our true feelings and our true thoughts. But the end of the world could be coming.
Yeah.
And we simply have to rise as goddesses, rise as Kali, rise as the fierce feminine, look after the undefended, stick up for that dog that's just got kicked under the table, stick up for that little girl who's just been shoved around in the supermarket because she's crying or she's lost her teddy. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's twofold. It is the outer expression, and it's all the healing and quiet forgiveness work that we have to do on the inside to just dare to open up that channel.
How do you invite women to do that?
Well, this is how I came into contact with this, and this is definitely what I endorse, because I believe a circle of women is a huge support network. And the old paradigm did train us to compare and contrast with one another, and to also not really let one another in. I'm talking about the sisterhood.
Yes.
So when we all come together and we start working on our love and trust of one another, that is a powerhouse of encouragement, support, belief, inspiration. And I can't help feeling, I'm thinking of the witches, I can't help feeling womankind was so terrifyingly separated from her sisters. And there was a lot of suspicion and a lot of, I'm going to tell on you because I think you're a witch. So a huge distrust came because of that. But it is to be the opposite of that. It's the coming of together that's going to bring back our superpowers. It's like we lost our superpowers as a collective of women.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to get them back as a collective of women.
That's beautiful. Yes. Inviting all our women to gather together
Yeah.
and form systems and repair those relationships.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful. Um, mm, mm. And how for you does, because we've talked about a lot of serious issues, and part of the theme of this is pleasure and the divine feminine. So how does embracing our pleasure and maybe about how this fierce feminine fits in within the divine feminine?
Yeah. Well, my pleasure comes from gathering with women and exploring where that can go in every possible foreseeable direction. So exploring beauty, exploring sensuality, in exploring releasing the voice, exploring dancing and movement, exploring and debating ideas that are different. Because with women, we can discuss and we can go anywhere. And that is the really exciting thing that I find when I'm with my sisters. It is so clear this evolutionary wave is it is already, but it's really gonna amp up and come sprawling out of womankind across the globe, whether it's art, innovation, science, education, healing, because all of these new gifts to our humanity have not yet been made manifest. So they're in the invisible realm. And it's kind of like only with a gathering of women where we can throw off the conditioning. We can literally just loosen the little noose around our neck that says, be a good girl and behave yourself well in society. Because when women gather, that's the first thing that goes. Conditioning and, belief systems, because there's so much energy inside of a female body. There's an emotional charge, and according to Yogi Bhajan, because I'm part of Kundalini Yoga, womankind has 16 times more magnetic emotional capacity. So when she goes there, she really goes there. And I believe that place is where this new paradigm is going to get birthed from. So that is what gives me pleasure. I used to be very, very into sexuality and tantra and all of that yummy body stuff, which I am, but it's slotted into second place. Because what's primary now, what's really floating my boat, is just getting out of the box as often as possible with other women.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It is amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing.
Yeah.
What might you say, if there are any men watching this, what might you say to them about like embracing the sisterhood or supporting women in this journey as well, or that relationship with the masculine?
Absolutely. Well, my husband Pete, we live alongside each other every single day. So he is obviously noticing this energy flowing through me. And he was once a soldier, so he was, a real man's man for a good 15 years of his life. And he enjoyed that power. I'm a soldier, I go to war, I drive a tank, I've got a gun.
Right.
So he is now, obviously, he left the army about 10, 12 years ago. So he's watching that great big status totally slide out of view. And he's like, oh, shit. But there's a huge part of him that wants that to slide out of view, because he's on the spiritual spiritual path.
Mm.
He knows that wasn't true. That wasn't fully true.
Mm.
But he is scared. And many men, I understand, totally know. It's not an idea anymore. It is a factual, evidence-based circumstance that the feminine and the feminine way of life is rising. And these old patriarchal, masculine-based, mind-driven industries and ways of life are just falling to pieces. So Pete tells me that at the moment he's standing on the threshold looking in. And he's like, where's my position in this?
Yeah.
And I must confess, I've been saying to him, come on, you know you're 50% feminine.
Yeah.
You know, the greatest piece of our work that we do every day with yoga is the sacred marriage ceremony, where we recognize ourselves as both masculine and feminine.
Amen.
So I've been really challenging him, saying, come on, join the fierce feminine ride with me. Stand up, speak out. You know, what breaks your heart? What are you going to show up and defend? And he was like, no, that's not it. That's not it for me. And I'm like, really? So I'm at a place now where I go, oh, the feminine in man may not be showing up with the same instruction as is the feminine in woman. I thought men and women would rally together and kick the hornet's nest,
Yeah.
you know, and bring this old world down.
Yeah.
But what I'm hearing is maybe there's a different role for the men, which I am now starting to find interesting.
Yeah.
Because at first I was like, I'm not sure that's true.
Yeah. I love that. I also really love how you end with the question and inquiry, you know, like, because in a way we have to leave it up to them, you know, to figure that out, you know, and that's empowering, just like it's empowering for us to figure it out together.
Yeah. Yeah. I have also noticed when I was really getting into it, he even wrote a piece in the book called What's the Difference Between the Fierce Feminine and an Angry Bitch?
Wow.
Because, you know, at first it was like, wow, she's angry.
Right.
And I'm like, you don't understand. This is not anger. This is sacred rage. And again, he was saying, any man who has a mother wound is not going to see that as sacred rage.
Right.
It's going to touch that mother's wound, and he is going to be terrified that that is anger and it's personal and it's coming his way.
Right. Right.
So if there's a really strong resistance, there could be an association with the mother back in the past.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, and there's that invitation for all of us, you know, to enter into that inner work to find out what that is for ourselves. Oh, that's so
and I do feel, and I have seen so absolutely clearly over the years, when it is the real genuine fierce feminine flowing through you, she's not angry. You know, even the worst of the worst, I don't know, when I was writing the book, there was talk of the wall going up between America and Mexico. So I was really getting quite animated. But then when I really felt into it, like if I was at the wall and for some bizarre reason, Donald Trump was there too,
right.
and I was in the fierce feminine, would she go up to him and call him every outrageous name under the sun? No. No, I did not have 1 ounce of, I'm pointing my finger at Donald Trump. And that's how I know, wow, it's so graceful, that the power is enormous, but it doesn't want to hurt or judge or blame or shame anybody. It just doesn't want the wall to go up.
Right.
Yeah, it's just like, no wall, no boundaries, no separation. And you don't hate or despise the organization that's building the wall.
Right. Yes. It's this accessing what I'm feeling when you say the sacred rage versus anger is like an individual thing that we might internally feel or direct to someone else, but it's just because it's just inside of us. But the sacred rage is like this pool of like huge, power that's coming up saying like, which is the voice of the earth almost saying like, no,
Yeah, exactly that. The voice of the earth. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for writing about it and bringing it, more fully into our collective consciousness.
Yeah.
Are there any other like stories you might want to share about? Because we've been saying so personally, but sometimes people really relate to figures, like a divine mother figure or Mary or whoever that you can see embody this sacred rage that people might relate to as well.
Wow, there's so many things happening on the planet at the moment. Maybe they're not coming into mainstream media yet, but another fabulous little example, Harry and Meghan. So this is a big scandal that's just gone off in England. They've disowned their royal status. They've decided to leave the royal family and just go on their own way.
Right.
And so to me, there is some fierce feminine there in both of them, actually. They've both decided, I'm not having this. There's talk that Meghan was getting hounded because she was a woman of color, and that's what it's really all about. And the monarchy aren't quite so keen on somebody of color being closely associated to them, and that's why she's being hounded. And so, she's just like rising up and like, I don't even want to be part of your family anyway. And just cutting that tie. And beautiful and courageous and gorgeous Harry is just supporting his bride. Like, yeah, let's go and make a new life together over in Canada. Now, there's no anger. There's no blame, there's no critique, there's no nothing from Meghan and Harry, just like, we don't want this anymore. And yet the important part of the conversation, is this because she's a woman of color? This is getting discussed on the breakfast channels in England. This is very, very good. So it's kind of like Grace. She's gone off to Canada. And there's this kind of like tumultuous, there's an uncomfortable conversation we've got to have as a nation. And I'm like, yeah, raise that conversation. Let's find out why we really haven't been supporting the arrival of Meghan, shall we?
Yeah.
So everything's very graceful, it's very elegant and extremely powerful. She has outmaneuvered the royal family with elegance.
Yes. Beautiful.
So that's a modern example. Again, because I'm a Brit, so obviously my news watching is close to Britain. Last year and this year, we will have more demonstrations from a protest group called Extinction Rebellion. So they've been protesting in all the major cities, bringing our awareness to climate change.
Right.
So they're very much, they're not associated with Greta Thunberg, but they're saying the same thing. There's a part of the Extinction Rebellion called the Red Brigade, where a collective of women dress head to toe, and I mean hats, scarves, skin color, gloves, dresses, shoes, and socks, everything about them.
Yeah.
is bright red.
Wow. Powerful.
And they move together as one.
Wow.
So they'll make their way to the lions at Trafalgar Square, or, you know, Leicester Square, a big, you know, an obvious place in London. They never speak. They don't have placards. They hold one another's hand, and this 20 or 30 group of women just move like a new kind of organism that's completely bright red. And it always makes the headline news because it's absolutely fascinating. And obviously, you know, the police are in black. So there's these amazing photographs of the Red Brigade facing the police of London.
Wow.
And the police is just like, I don't know what to do with you.
Right.
You're not being aggressive. You're not shouting. You haven't got a placard. You're not laying down in protest. You're just standing in front of me. And I don't know what to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
And again, there it is again. There's that elegance. There's that grace and that formidable power.
Mm.
Because if the police want to take one member of the Red Brigade, they're not going to let go of one another's hands. The whole lot will have to go.
Wow.
Oh, it's incredible. And that's what I mean. We are finding, the feminine is finding new ways of expressing and holding her presence in the face of a grasping sort of death knell of the old masculine. And I just think it's the most sublime, there's that word again, elegance. And it's like, how can this not be a divine expression?
Yeah.
It's just coming from somewhere else.
So beautiful. Wow. I love how you weave these layers of modern culture into this, you know, rising feminine element, because it, you know, makes it so relatable and so that we can really see it.
Yes.
Oh, so beautiful. Wow. Is there I'm just like receiving, so grateful to receive you. And is there anything else you want to share with us about your book or your work, or anything that's coming up for you in the moment?
Well, I'm coming to definitely Portland, Oregon, and definitely Ojai, California in August. And then in September, I will be slowly making my way across Canada, dropping in at Vancouver, Ottawa, Toronto. Oh yeah, and then I'm dropping down into the US again, into Vermont, Burlington.
Cool.
So I've been to all of those places before. So there's some fabulous, you know, old faithful friends in those parts. And I'm going to be doing a book signing on the Fierce Feminine, a talk, and then at the weekend I'll be doing a workshop on the Fierce Feminine, actual interactive. So not just sat around listening,
Right.
you know, actually breathing and getting this energy into us, and finding out, you know, what is it that we would rise for. And when I say rise, I mean that almighty rise. What is it? Is it children? Is it animals? Is it AI? Is it trafficking? Is it, you know, corruption? What is it that makes you start stirring on the inside? And then I will also be doing a sacred body awakening on the other day of the weekend, which is like my other face. And, you know, in the bio, it says she has a fierce heart that's both, a beautiful heart that's both fierce and tender. Well, the other side of me is that I love somatic, slow, deep, loving, sacred touch. And so that's what the sacred body awakening is. It's just this, it's like this art form. And I think the two go really, really well.
Yeah.
Because with the fierce feminine, you know, you rise up and become hyper stimulated. And then on the next day, you're just adored and comforted by kind-hearted, powerfully present, beautiful beings that have full use of what is possible in their hands. And we all have that. We don't need training. It's a certain frequency that I feel, it's a certain way of gathering, that when one of us holds with the, I call it midwife hands, doula hands, once we feel that touch, it's like, I remember. Yeah.
That sounds super juicy and very well-rounded.
Yeah.
Oh, what beautiful work you do in the world. Wow. Well, it has been such an honor for me to talk to you and hear about your work, and for us to really, this question that I'm going to end with for myself, and I hope viewers will also end with this question, is about what in you is this fierce feminine rising? Like,
Yes.
what is it rising within you, and what does it call you to stand for and live for in the world?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm so glad you took this to heart. I can see you've taken it to heart. It's all over your face. Bless you, sweetheart. Thank you. Thank you for having me on and listening.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
I really bless your work. You know, you're coming into it now.
Yeah.
I'm about to take a step back and maybe fade. And now you, the next generation, coming forward, getting ready to shine.
Thank you for that support. Yeah.
Yeah.
We need that.
You
energy.
go, girl.
Fierce woman rising.
Yes.
Totally. Oh, good. Okay. Well, have such a lovely evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. I have to like stop the recording. I guess I'll just cut out the end.
Okay. Yeah.
But on a personal note, just thanks again for doing this. And I really felt all that. And yeah, juiced up.
Yeah, me too. I'm a little excited too.
Oh, good.
Yay.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, well, I hope you have good nighttime routine to like chill out from bed.
Where are you based? Are you anywhere near those places I mentioned?
I live in Reno, Nevada, so I'm really close to the Bay Area. If you come to the Bay, I could definitely stop in.
Yes.
I might be in Portland around August. It depends, but I'll do you know what dates you'll be there? Because there's a fire gathering I might go to.
Oh, no, not off the top of my head. But I'll drop them to you. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
My movements. Yeah. Yeah. Great.
It's so fun to meet in person.
Yeah.
Good.
Cool.
Cool. Well, thank you again.
Okay, sweetie.
So nice to meet you and interview you.
You too. You too. You bless your way.
You bless your way.
Bye.
Bye.